On this episode of Hudson Valley Hustle, I'm joined by Ashley Rago from Eternal Souls. Ashley started off by buying and selling cameras, and now, along with her partners, owns 2 shoe stores in the Middletown Galleria and the Poughkeepsie Galleria. This is a solid episode for anybody that's just into flipping and wants to eventually turn it into a full-fledged business. Enjoy. So how does somebody go from flipping cameras to owning 2 shoe stores in 2 malls?
So actually it was more so my wife and business partner, well, one of them anyway. She was kind of like pushing the cameras thing, and then she knew way more about shoes than I did. So it kind of transitioned from cameras to Vans to like shoes we had in the closet to, her thinking like, okay, there's more money elsewhere, and me being like, okay, so I got into sneaker botting. I'm not sure if you've heard of that, but essentially it's probably one of the more hated things in the industry. But, you're pretty much using a computer. There's a lot more to it. But, you're getting them from sites immediately.
So like when they launch, you get them? Okay.
Yep. And then from doing that, I actually met my partner. This was probably 3 years ago now, but online doing that. So, we were in the same group using the same bot. So we were talking all the time, and it was really cool. Like our friendship just progressed. So even the steps that I took away from him, when my other partner and I, Jess, again, my wife, but we decided to go down to Pennsylvania because somebody had offered us an opportunity like, hey, help me open up this sneaker store, we'll get you into partnership, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, that didn't work out. So we moved down to Philly and suffered there for a couple of years. Well, about a year, maybe about a year and a half. And then the more I got talking to Mark, I was just like, he was in banking.
Okay.
And I'm like, what do you think about just like doing this? And he's like, I think we should do it. And I had never met him at all. We just had talked online. So I went out to Poughkeepsie to look at a place. Yep. I went down to Mohegan Lake to look at a place. All this without meeting Mark. And Jess is kind of like, you're nuts.
Yeah.
Like, because again, she's not just my partner, she's my wife. So she's kind of like it's like a family thing. You're kind of crazy.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
It could go either
absolutely,
way.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what do we have to lose? Like, we live in Philadelphia. There's nothing for us here. That's 100% for certain. So I had another friend that I'd met botting as well, and he was like, I'll help you find a place. And he did. He hooked us up at the Poughkeepsie Galleria. And then I think maybe, it must have been maybe a week after we signed the paperwork, I finally met my partner.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So met on the internet, started a business together.
Yeah.
And then met.
Yeah. It sounds insane. Because, obviously in between that, we were talking on the phone a lot.
Sure.
And, just like planning things and stuff like that. But it really, in hindsight's 2020, is probably a ridiculous choice.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of the person that's like, if I'm going to put my all into something, I'm just going to do it. If I fail, okay, I'll start over again. Yeah. We failed when we went to Philly, know, so
and you probably learned a lot.
Over again, a ton.
Yeah.
A ton. And that actually gave us the tools to be able to transition into opening up a store here,
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, it was kind of a go big or go home type deal.
That's wild. So what kind of things do you sell in the stores?
So we sell, Nikes, Jordans, Yeezys, apparel, accessories, like a lot of Supreme stuff, mostly the streetwear. We kind of try to incorporate local brands. So we really like to support the like smaller businesses in the community and people who are, because normally it's kids, I would say between 17 and 22 who are really trying to like launch their brand and like get creative. So we allow them to put their stuff in our store for kind of like brand awareness for them. And then, we'll allow them to do pop-ups and stuff like that. Cool. So we kind of have like a wide range of things. We also sell luxury goods like Louis Vuitton, and we have somebody who puts them in store that she's actually a certified authenticator. So. Oh,
nice. So is it mostly like, is it a lot of like buy sell, or is it? Are you a dealer for like sneaker brands also? Like, are you like a traditional retailer in that regard?
No, I wish, but no, it's mostly, buy and sell. So
Okay.
we'll get things at retail. We have a lot of people who come into store and sell to us too. I mean, we'll buy out big collections and, our main thing was that we really wanted to provide people with an affordable product. Obviously some things, if we pay a lot, we have to charge a little bit more.
Sure.
So we try to get things as low as we can. So we added a pre-owned section and, stuff so now you're catering to more than one demographic, right?
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to have an extra $20,000 in your bank account to shop with us.
Yeah, no,
You
that's
know.
great. That's great.
Yeah.
Are you still doing like the botting?
So Marcus, I kind of stepped away from it because I'm like, it's a lot. It's a lot of work, So especially now having 2 stores, I don't really think we have all that much time to keep up with it.
Right.
But I feel like everything happens for a reason, right? It's like had I had known 3 years ago that starting botting would lead to the success we've had now, I probably would have skipped a few steps and, felt a little less daunted along in the process. But I think you need that. I think you need to fail. I think you need to learn your lessons because otherwise it's just going to continuously, be a daunting process.
Yeah. How long have you been in Poughkeepsie and then how long have you been in Middletown?
Poughkeepsie, we've been there for like a year and 6 months now,
Okay.
a year and 7 months. And then we're about 3.5 months in Middletown.
Gotcha. So Middletown's like really new.
It's a baby.
Okay. That's
But the
cool.
store's huge. So it's, we transitioned from a little store in Poughkeepsie to like this like massive enterprise, it feels like when you walk in there.
This is now the second guest that we've had on, I think, that has had a spot in a mall. We had somebody that has a spot in the Palisades Mall.
Oh, the gamer store.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like for me, I want to know how does a store survive in a mall? Because in my mind, I think super expensive rent, lots of overhead. How does a store make it in a mall?
I think malls are super underrated, right? I mean, because I know that, they say the malls are dying, right? But the reality of it is there is still the people that want to go and they want to feel things. They want to see what they're getting, you know? There's just a lot of people who really do roam around the mall for no reason, and the mall is starting to bring new things, like they just added bounce. So, the parents will drop their kids off. They'll go walk around the mall. In my opinion, it's free marketing, right? So if, with nobody knowing our name, if we opened in, say the South Road Plaza or something like that, where people go, but it's a destination store, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to Subway or they're going to get sushi or whatever. I don't think our visibility would be as prominent as it is in a mall because people, when you're walking through a mall, you have no choice but to walk past our store because we're there, So I think if we continued to open up stores, I think we would continue opening in malls.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, if that model works and that makes sense, why not, right? But it's like I don't go to malls too often, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm usually like an online guy, but I usually if I go to a mall, it's for a mission, right?
Right.
Like I get in, I get out. That's just me. I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
That's just me. But I know there's a lot of experiences going into malls, now,
Right.
which is bringing in more people and it's bringing in younger people, I assume.
Yeah, it does.
They have the gyms. They have the gyms now. The bounce places, things like that.
Yeah.
Like a lot of stuff for kids. So parents go in, like you said, they drop off and whatnot. Whatnot. So you sell a lot on whatnot too. Let me transition to that.
Good segue.
So what percentage of sales is in store versus online?
So I would say most of our sales are in store until we started doing whatnot.
Yeah. Okay.
Because what happens is when you have an online store, it's very easy for people to buy things, use fake cards, charge back. It's a huge thing in this industry. I don't know if it's a huge thing in every industry, but I do know that for most of the orders that come through our online store, only about maybe 15% of them are legitimate orders. Yeah.
That's
it's pretty widespread, the fact that people are, using fake cards. And I mean, you could tell.
Is that a sneaker thing? Like I've never heard that be it that low. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty prominent in this industry, like very much so.
Just trying to see what they can get away with if they can get a pair.
Yeah, they do it in store too. There's now this new thing where they can, they have a bunch of like credit cards written down and they'll read them off to you. Oh, try this one, and it's like, oh well, Zales did it. Well,
What?
Yeah.
That's
So,
nuts.
Yeah.
But Whatnot's been good for you?
Whatnot's been really good. So we've done 6 shows already.
Okay.
And
Give an overview of what Whatnot is, because I'm sure somebody listening doesn't know what
oh
it
yeah,
is.
sure.
But
So Whatnot is a live auction platform, and essentially you take your goods. It's more focused on volume sales.
Okay.
You know, so
it's kind of like do-it-yourself QVC almost,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, I love it. It's awesome. And, people are getting way better deals on there.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is like you're garnering a different audience, right? So people that, we get people who order from California. They would never come into the mall
Sure.
and see us, so it's, for us, another form of marketing as well. But, it's a live auction platform. Some things we start at $1, some things we start at set prices.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to our shop, you can buy it now. You can make offers. It's really cool. It's really given us an opportunity to move things that have just been sitting for a while.
Gotcha. No, that's good.
Yeah.
And again, it opens up your audience for sure.
Right.
Do you sell online besides Whatnot? Like, do you have an online store that you sell on?
The online store is the one that I was saying you get a lot of chargebacks on.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so we do have a website,
Yeah,
right?
that you
Because we have a system set up in store that if you scan the QR code on the bottom of the shoe,
Yep.
it'll bring you all like the sizes and prices.
Oh, gotcha.
So we have to have an online store
Yep.
to tie to that, but
Makes sense.
it's I don't prefer it.
Okay.
I don't prefer selling on
that's
there.
fine. I mean, that makes sense. So buying and selling sneakers, I know it's huge. Like I don't know a lot about it
Yep.
personally, but I always like like going out, finding a deal and being like, "Oh my God, I'm going to flip this." Right?
Yeah.
I've always been
Me
like
too.
that, okay?
Me too.
Yeah, is that like in your DNA?
Yeah, it's the fun of it. You know what got me starting to think about reselling was Tickle Me Elmo.
Yeah.
They released a Tickle Me Elmo.
When you
and I'm
couldn't
like,
find them in the stores?
Yeah, you couldn't find them in the stores. Oh, sorry, I knew I was supposed to do that. Once I saw how crazy it was for that people were paying
Yeah.
for Tickle Me, I think it was like $500 they were paying for that, and I'm like, wow, that is awesome, you know.
Yep.
And like ever since then, I was kind of like selling candy bars in school or like buying pencils or cool erasers, like the normal middle school thing to do, I guess, if you're a hustler by nature. But yeah, it was just something that I always wanted to do, and I always wanted to work for myself. I knew that I wouldn't do any good working for somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it's something that I always loved.
So you just, I love the thrill of the hunt, right? Like to find something, whether it's at a yard sale or like a thrift store or something, and it's like whether it's like an old video game or something that I know that I can either want for my collection or to flip, more importantly, right? Like I get more excited about finding something that I can make $20 on selling it online than selling a $10,000 video project. I don't know. I just like it's weird,
fun.
but that's the way I am.
I'm glad we feel the same way. It's literally it's so fun. Like we'll stop anywhere. We'll go to like a Goodwill or see what they have there. Or like I love yard sales. We just haven't had time. But yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you never know. It's like a treasure hunt.
Yeah, it's a rush.
Yeah.
You get a rush. I'm like, this is, oh my God, this is selling for double what I paid for it. It's
Exactly.
$5. But I'm like, this is amazing.
$5.
Yeah, it's great. I think that's just in you, right?
Yeah.
I was doing that. Oh my God, I was hustling since I was in like middle school, high school, like selling stuff to friends in school. And then I transitioned into buying and selling instruments. I know your thing was cameras and whatnot. I did that with a lot of guitars. I was buying and selling guitars.
Oh, that's cool.
Constantly. And
That's
like my rule, I remember my rule on a guitar. This was going back, when was that? Like 2009 maybe? Something like that. 2008, 2009.
It's a good time.
Right? If I can make $100 on the instrument, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, I was just excited to find something that I could buy for $80 and sell it for $200. I was like stoked.
It's the coolest thing because you're like, oh, cool, I mean, it's.
But you do that
you
now.
enjoy doing it
at a larger scale.
Yeah.
Right.
It's still fun. It's still my favorite part.
Yeah.
It's still my favorite part. When people come into the store, I'm like, I'm ready. What do you got? Like, I'm.
Oh, when they're selling
I'm
to
excited.
you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best.
It's my favorite thing because again, like you just said, you have that like rush of like, ooh, like I know I can make $50 on this,
Absolutely.
I don't care if someone comes in and sells us a used shoe with no box and they look like crap and we have to clean them. If I can make $10, I'm like, I'm going to make $10.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So how is between the two stores and the online and everything like that, how big's the team?
So we have myself, Jessica, and Mark, my partners, and then we have. Sorry, guys. How many employees? We have Nolan, James, and Stephen.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
there's 6 of us.
Cool. That's cool.
And they're great.
Yeah. How do you find managing teams for retail?
The most difficult part about business, by far. Managing different personalities, trying to figure out people's, love language, so to speak, and like how they learn and what their processes are, how they take in information. I would say for me, that's been the hardest part about business, because we want people, and I know Gary Vee will tell you, like, no one's going to love your business as much as you do, right? But at the same time, bringing people into our family and making them feel like family is kind of our hopes, so we're really selective on who we hire. And I think we've been, for the most part, lucky. But still, it's a hard thing to navigate.
Yeah, I think it's easier when you're smaller to kind of cater a little bit more,
right?
Because there's not 100 people that you have to worry about, right? It's a little bit easier when you're smaller, but still, everybody that I talk to just about says that same exact thing.
Okay, so I'm not the only one.
You're not the only one. It's like if you go back and listen to the other episodes, it's like anybody that has a team. That is the hardest part about running a business. That is the hardest part about running a business. And I totally, absolutely, yeah.
It is. And I would love for people to grow with us. And this is the other problem I have too, is that when you find somebody that you love and they're great, they're perfect for your business, they may want to move on. Maybe they got to go to college. Maybe they have to, maybe they want to start their own business, So there's always that fear of losing. And I'm going to give a huge shout out to Nolan Green. He's an absolute godsend to our business. And I think everybody would agree. He just genuinely cares about what happens. And the second that he started, he was so proud to be a part of us. And again, all of our employees are, but he really, he's just been great for us. And he set the precedence of what we're looking for in an employee. And I think the difference is he's from Texas. He's not from here, So,
all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different work ethic, I feel, because it's been really hard to find that again, replicate him as a person. So
Nolan Green.
Yeah, Nolan Green. Shout out, man.
Yeah. All right, that's cool. We all need a Nolan.
We all need a Nolan. This is what I keep telling everybody.
Put it on a shirt.
Yes.
Sell that merch, and then
I have no problem
make
wearing his
$5 on
face
it.
right here.
Vote
for Nolan.
One of our team members likes to wear his face on a shirt too, so it's good. That's him.
Is that you?
Yeah, it's him.
See, it's good marketing.
It is for himself, absolutely, absolutely.
People just look at you and be like, "Wait a second, wait, okay."
Where do I get one of those? It's amazing. So yeah, everybody needs a Nolan.
Yeah.
What else besides the human resource aspect of things is a challenge for going from essentially being like a freelance hustler type of a thing to now having a more legitimized business with 2 physical locations?
I think the hardest part is, or one of the hardest parts is really understanding that you can't please everybody. Dealing with customers in a retail setting is completely different than, when we were selling on the streets. Because, the people we're selling to on the streets, it's like they know what they want. They know what they're going to spend. You already have the deal set in place before you go meet with them, So there's no really having to convince them. There's no, attitudes you're going to get or no complaints about the prices. All that stuff was already set in stone.
Yeah.
So now transitioning into retail, and when you can compare to prices online, right? Because it's like, that's where people were used to shopping, especially during the pandemic. So, but the way we navigate it is, because someone comes in and, your prices are really high, how come they're cheaper on StockX or Go or whatever it is, and we tell people, we provide you a service. Of course you can go on, and I implore you, if that's what you'd like to do to save, $10, $20, you can buy them online, but here you're getting the experience. We actually care about you. We're making sure that you're leaving with the right shoe on your foot, making sure it's the right size. You're feeling the shoe. We converse with you. We actually genuinely care about the people that come in there. But you're always going to get a set amount of people who don't care about that.
Yeah,
know,
of course.
so-
That's 100%. But it's like when it comes to shoes, though, that's the one thing that I have to go and buy in person.
Yeah. Same, because don't you want to in jeans
You have
too?
to try it on. Yeah, a lot of clothing,
clothes.
certainly things. But shoes for me, I don't know why, but every brand is a different size for me.
Yeah.
So I have to go in
Exactly.
if I got it. Like if I have to try it on. That's just what it is. And
Yeah, I mean, you want to see how it looks. You want to be like, okay, this is,
And I fully understand that somebody that's picking it up off of a shelf on a warehouse is going to be different than somebody like you who knows the ins and outs of shoes and what's going to fit me better.
Exactly.
I would expect that I'm probably going to pay a little bit more if I'm going into a store versus if I'm buying it on some kind of website.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, it's worth it, right? Because some people will come in and they'll be like, I'm a size 9. I for sure know I'm a size 9. And I'll be like, okay, so, we'll get you like an 8.5, 9, or like a 9, 9.5 and see how that fits. I had one person literally do this. They said they were a size 9. They ended up leaving with a 10.5, and it fit them perfectly. So, but obviously, like you said, shoes fit different. So we just want them to trust us that we know what we're doing. So, we kind of like to guide you in the right direction. I don't care if you're buying the shoe with us that day at all. We want you to feel comfortable, and we want you to feel, like we want it to be a vibe when you walk into our store. So then that way, even if you're not ready to buy that day, you leave and say, oh, you know what? Like, I really liked Ashley over there. It's something like that. It just makes all the difference in the world. So that's kind of how we circumvent the negativity. But it does, back to your question, it definitely does weigh on us, as business owners, because we're just not able to please everybody. And we do try, but that's one of the biggest stresses.
Yeah, but I think you have to go into it knowing that you're not going to please everybody.
Right.
You're going to be able to take care of a particular type of customer, and you're not going to be able to take care of another particular type of customer. That's just part of it. But unfortunately, in retail, when it's a physical place where somebody can walk in and be like, "You suck,"
yeah, exactly.
Right? That can weigh on you a little bit more, I think.
It does,
right?
Yeah, because I'm like, well, we don't suck. Like, here, let me explain.
Right, exactly.
Like that was something we had to learn to like deal with.
Yeah.
We had to learn how to like voice what makes us different to the people who cared to listen anyway. So.
Yeah, of course. On the internet's just a vacuum, right?
Yeah.
Like where it doesn't matter what people say on the internet. Everybody's a keyboard warrior. But when somebody says it to your face, it hits way harder.
Bums you out. Yeah.
It's way harder
when
somebody tells you that to your face. So I give it up to anybody that works in retail because I've worked in it, worked in hospitality. It's a difficult industry to work in. That's for sure. And I imagine that's why it could be difficult to find help, I'm sure too, that like really good help.
Yeah. Well, because nobody wants to be stuck in a mall all day, and people see, working in a mall is like a downgrade, but it's, especially in this industry, you can start in a mall and end up having 15 stores across the country, so everything is a stepping stone in this industry. And this is what we try to tell the employees that work with us. It's like, there's this, but then there's also 1,000 things that could follow, but, saying something and them waiting and sticking it out to see if that happens is another. So it's all about trust.
Yep, absolutely. Before we started rolling, you were talking about like Facebook giving you problems and whatnot with marketing and stuff. What about? But you said you're very active on Instagram. You said you're really active on Instagram.
Yes.
Is that what is that doing for you? I'm just curious.
I'll start by saying I knew nothing about Instagram. Okay. Jess is the one who really started building our Instagram because I knew nothing about it. I literally just learned like a year and a half ago what tap to pay was. Okay. So, she really started that. But growing it was probably, as we started going, we started realizing how important it actually is. We tried to do the same with Facebook. Facebook really didn't pan out that same, because you can cross post, right? Because they're both Meta. So we figured if we're posting something on Instagram, people are going to see it on Facebook. They don't really care.
Yeah, it's not the same. You have to treat them differently because even though it's the same company, they are two very different platforms.
Yeah, they are. And now it's just kind of trying to figure out like, the algorithms, what people want to see, keeping up with trends and stuff like that. But we've seen but it's also pushed us. That's what I love about social media because it also forces you to be creative, you know? So it's.
Well, there's so many more creators now, right? That you have to be able to stand out.
Right.
The level of quality has to get elevated. You know, it used to be where you could just take your phone and be like, hey, this is a shoe we're selling.
Yeah.
And like millions of views. Not anymore.
No. Now you're competing with everybody.
With everybody that is still trying to do that, right? So
right.
It's the feeds are flooded with all this content and all these videos.
Yep.
That you have to think about things to do differently. But I'm glad that it works for you because
it does.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still it is hard because, you know, having 2 stores now and, you know, doing whatnot, it's really, really difficult to like stay creative on that front, you know? So there'll be some days where it's like we intend to post, but, you know, we either don't have time, you know, whatever. But it's one of those things where, you know, we're trying to get the employees to do all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I guess that's the point of them.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Yeah.
As far as, I want to go back to the camera thing for a second. So were you into photography before you?
No, I got into photography. Jess and I both did because during the pandemic, we would go and explore like abandoned buildings.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was
where?
Probably
like
the best part. Rhode Island. So that's where we actually, before we moved to Philly, that's where we were, in Rhode Island.
That's fun.
You know, like old asylums and stuff, and like.
I'm obsessed with watching those videos.
Oh my God, it's
right?
so cool.
Aren't you too, right?
It's so cool. That's the one thing I really, really, really miss about the pandemic. You know,
Yeah.
if I can even say that. But it was so cool. So just like, you know, going to asylums and like old hospitals and, you know, seeing all that stuff. And
How do you get into places?
You just find a way.
your way in?
Yeah, you find a way. Yeah. Without breaking anything.
Yep.
You know, so, but there's always like a window or something open. But yeah, like seeing everything, I'm like, oh man, this is really cool. Like I want to start taking pictures. And I started with like this dinky camera. I don't even remember what it was, but it was super cool. And then it kind of transitioned from that. It's like, that's what got me started into cameras. And then the cameras got us started into shoes, you know? So, but yeah, it was kind of just a progression as far as that goes.
Interesting. Oh, abandoned stuff. It's so cool.
Yeah. I miss it.
Yeah.
I don't have time.
I was watching one recently. It was an old mall. I don't remember where it was, but like some of the lights were still on and it was like really
it's crazy.
Bizarre.
It's very strange. You like walk into like a different time.
Yeah. It's like it's just trapped in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There was the movie theater down the road that they unfortunately just knocked down. They had all the posters up that were up right before
that's so
the
cool.
pandemic hit, and it was like just a still trapped in time.
Literally
so
frozen
weird.
in time.
Creepy.
I mean, I still go over to the Hudson Valley Psychiatric Center. You know, well now their ShopRite is there. But if you keep going, that's up Route 9 in Poughkeepsie. So there's like, I forgot, we're not in Poughkeepsie right now.
So there's
yeah, it's still there. I mean, they knocked down a lot of it and put like ShopRite and
gotcha.
Starbucks, stuff like that. But you know, if you kind of keep going up the road a little bit, the buildings are still there. It's still super creepy and like, I just love it. I don't know, the architecture and stuff like that.
The photos and videos you can get are nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's very, very cool.
Yeah. If you check out my personal page, you'll see a lot of the videos from like different abandoned buildings.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm definitely going to check that out. Absolutely. Just one more question about for anybody that's kind of buying and selling shoes right now. I know that's super hot. What kind of advice could you give to somebody that's thinking about either, getting into something bigger or wants to do more than just what they're doing now?
I think my biggest advice would be don't give up. Make sure that you're making connections. Network is your net worth. I'm sure millions of people have heard that before. But, making sure that you're solid in business, that you're honest, that you're that you're really going to be wanting to progress in a way that, propels you and pushes you to be the type of person that you want to be, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But, I would definitely say, really sticking with it. You're going to fail. Failing is fine. That's what you want to do. You want to learn that. You want to learn those lessons. And, like I said, go to sneaker shows, meet different people who do the same thing that you do, meet people who are new at it, meet people who aren't new at it. Get a little community of your own, and then don't be afraid to take chances. I feel like that's the best advice I can give people. Because if I didn't take a chance, I would still be probably in construction.
Gotcha.
You know, so it's like you'll never get to where you want to be if you stay in your comfort zone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely won't happen if you don't try it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's what I try to tell these kids too, you know, that they come in here like, oh, I just started reselling, or, oh, you know, I have this clothing brand, or, oh, you know, I want to do this. Keep doing it. If you find passion in what you're doing, keep doing it, because eventually the opportunities, if you're working towards something, the opportunities will start presenting themselves. You know, so it's almost like you can't plan what you're going to do with the work that you're putting into it, but just know that you're going to get something in return.
Something's going to come out of it.
Something's going to come out of it.
Yeah, you don't know what it is exactly. Just
right.
action, like action. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. No, that's really good. So where can people shop? Where can they find you?
You guys can find us in the Poughkeepsie Galleria Mall. We're on the second floor next to LensCrafters. We're in the Middletown Galleria Mall. We're upstairs right next to Build-A-Bear, which is... I love Build-A-Bear. I didn't know how much I loved it until we were right next to it. I know I'm kind of behind everybody on, but I love it. But either way, second floor next to Build-A-Bear, and then also on Whatnot. You can find us at Eternal Souls NY, SOLES. I figure I should put that in there.
That's cool. No, get it in. Get it in.
Yeah, so, you know, come shop with us. We love to have you, even if you guys don't want to buy something. Just come in, say hi, say, hey, I saw you on a podcast, and just that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a Build-A-Bear, huh?
I love it.
You're into Build-A-Bear?
I didn't know that funny story, if we have a moment. My first time into Build-A-Bear, there was a bear, and I didn't know that I was allowed to push the button and stuff it myself. She bogarted it. The woman who works there didn't even offer it to me. Maybe because, you know, I'm a 40-year-old woman. She's like, she doesn't care about this.
Like, she doesn't want to stuff this thing.
I cared. I wanted to stuff my own damn bear.
That's amazing.
And I didn't get to. So it took away that, you know, that little bit from it. But man, I was in there for like 20 minutes. Like, this is great.
Yeah.
Genius.
Don't they have don't they have like Pokemon now?
Yeah.
And Mario and stuff too? I thought
Yeah,
I
they
saw
have all
Mario
kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah.
A genius idea. It's like, I wish I would have thought of that.
It's been in the Galleria forever.
Yeah.
It's been in that same spot right on the corner there.
And it's always busy.
Yeah.
Like, people can't get over it.
That's awesome.
That's why I want to, like, you know, branch out into something. Like, you know, it'd be cool to have like our own like customization store. Well, not like a store, but like a studio where people can come and customize their own shoes and stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a whole thing though, and I don't know how to customize shoes, so it's like, but I gotta learn that first.
You have to learn.
You gotta learn, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for coming on. This
Yes,
was
thank
a
you.
lot of fun. Good luck
This
with
was
everything. I'll
awesome.
definitely pop in next time I'm in I'm usually, if I go anywhere, because I'm on this side of the river, I usually hit up Middletown.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks so much for coming on.
Awesome.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good.
It was really nice to meet you.
You too.
Did I do a good job with this thing?